All right, how's it going, everyone? All right, I want to go ahead and get started. So, we are working on division of decimals by whole numbers using standard algorithm, but also understanding how base 10 blocks or place value is related to division, as well as multiplication and groups and number of in each group. So, tonight you're working on even numbers. And so the first problem that I have is 5, 3, and 25 hundredths. So number 2. So now I needed to ask myself, I only have 3 holes. I'm going to have 5 groups. Can these 3 holes fit into the 5 groups? Or another way of stating it, how many groups, if I have 5 groups, how many of the 3 holes can fit into those 5 groups? Well, we know that nothing can. So now I'm going to move over and turn those into hundredths, and now I have 32 hundredths. Looking at this, if you want to visualize, this is something you are not doing, but you can visualize or think about. When you're thinking about it, you have 5 groups. And so if you're having to just draw out the 5 groups to get a visual, go for it. Makes no difference. Now 32 hundredths. Can I put 32 hundredths into 5 groups? I can, but it won't be even. So I can put anything. I have a decimal. I'm going to bring in my decimal to separate the whole numbers and the less than whole. So I know that I can put 6 in each group because in my imaginary multiplication, 6 tenths times 5 equals 32 tenths. Now I'm going to subtract that out. Did y'all catch that? It's not 32, it's 30. Because I knew I was going to have 2 left over, and I got sidetracked. Now I have 2 tenths left over. I'm going to go ahead and get my other pen. All right. Then I'm going to bring down, now my 2 tenths, remember what we've been doing in class. Since I can't share the fair share amongst the 5 groups, I'm going to, so I will have 20 hundredths, but I also have 5 hundredths here. Now I have 25 hundredths. Can I take these 25 hundredths and fair share among the 5 groups? Absolutely. And so 5, I'm going to have 5 times 5, or 5 hundredths times 5 equals 25 hundredths. Subtract that out. This is 0, and I'm done. And I kind of took that from Mrs. Holscher because now it gives it that finishing touch in my brain that says, I'm done now. All right, so now the answer for number 2 is, and I'm just going to put it, I guess I should put it here, 65 hundredths. Did I do that right? No, I'm so glad you caught that. That's not correct. That's 65 thousandths. It's 65 hundredths. Now let's go to number 4. My problem here is I have 1 and 35 hundredths. I'm going to divide that by 3. Again, thinking of standard algorithm along with our base 10s, how many groups do I have? So if this helps you, I got 3 groups. All right. So I have 1 whole. Nope, that's not going to work out. I'm going to put a 0, bring up my decimal, and now I have 13 tenths. Yeah, I can divide out 13 tenths. It won't be even. So, and how many would go in there? All right, so I'm looking at 3. Now, if this is something that you're not sure about, then you can also think of it this way. How many are going to be in each group? So if you have 3 groups and 1 in each group, that's 3. If you have 3 groups of 2 in each group, that's 6. Of 3 in each group, that's 9. So I'm already taking 9 of the 13. Can I keep going? Okay. 3 groups of 4 in each group, that's 12. Oops, look at that. I can take 12 of the 13 hundredths that I have here, and I have 1 left over. So now I have my 4/10, my imaginary, my multiplication. 4 times 3 equals 12. Subtract out. 3 minus 2 equals 1. And I'm going to bring down my hundredths, and I'm going to now have 15 hundredths. Okay, so now if I have 3 groups of 5 in each group, how many would it give me? 15. So 3 will go into 15, or if I have 15 can be evenly distributed to 3 times. So my answer is 45 hundredths. So I want you to think about how you're saying and using these numbers. So my answer is 45 hundredths. At any time, oops, I did it again. That's 45 thousandths. My brain is being challenged today. Okay, so now let's go over to number 6. Again, any time that you need to pause this video, please do so that you can go and understand it and then do step by step, because you have the power to play and replay and pause. Now we're going to talk about money. Well, does it change the way we divide it? No. So I have $25.11. And what I'm going to do is move up the $25 into my quotient, because that's my answer. So I'm going to have that. And I'm going to divide that into 9. I'm going to have 9 equal groups. My $25.11, and I'm going to share it amongst 9 people. So if I can make it into reality. All right. So I know that I have 9 groups. If you want to, you can draw up the 9. If not, I have 2 10s. Can I take my 2 10s and separate those equally into 9 groups? Nope, I can't do that. However, if I have 25 and I have ones, because I have 5 ones, I'll cash those in. 25 ones, can I do something? Well, if I have 9 groups of 1 in each group, that's 9. If I have 9 and there's 2 in each group, that's 18. Can I keep sharing a little bit more? Let's try 9 and I have 3 in each group. Uh-oh. I know that that's going to be 27. Most I can put in each group is 2. So 9 times 2 equals 18. So I can use 18 of the 25, and what does that leave me with? So I'm going to regroup my 2 to 1. Now it's 15. So if I have 8 from 15, what is that? Very good, that's 7. Here's my arrow, and I'm going to do this one in red so we can see it. My decimal is used to separate my whole numbers from less than the whole, my tenths and hundredths. If I have a decimal in my dividend, I will need to have the decimal in my quotient. Okay, so now I have 7 ones, but I can't share that with within the 9 groups. So I'm going to cash those in for 70 tenths. And look at this. I already have 1 tenth here. Now I'm going to have a total of 71 tenths. And I'm going to keep going. If I have my 9 groups, and there's going to be 4 in each group, that gives me 36. What do you think it's going to be then? If you're not sure, keep counting with me. If I have 9 groups and there's 5 in each group, that's 45. If it's 9 groups times 6 in each group, that's 54. Can I keep going? 9 groups times 7 in each group, that's 63. Can I keep going or stop? Okay, I think I heard somebody say keep going. 9 groups of 9 in each, oops, 8 in each group. That's 72. Too big. 1 too many. We have 7 in each group. So 7 tenths times 9 equals 63 tenths. And now I can subtract that out. And so I have to regroup. We take 1 from here. This becomes a 6, and my 1 becomes an 11. And so 11 minus 3 equals, that's right, it's 8. 9, 10, 11, if you weren't sure. All right, well, I can't do anything with 8 tenths, so I can change those into hundredths. So now I'll have 80 hundredths, but I still have 1 hundredths here. So now it's 81 hundredths. Well, if I have 9 groups of 9 in each group, that equals 81. 9 times 9 equals 81. Stephen Canesian. Very good. So now each person is going to get $2.79. So this is my quotient. Now I can hear you saying we were supposed to, I'm going to put Q for quotient. Check your work. You're absolutely right. Make sure that you go back and check. So those of you that are still practicing on that, or to find out, we're checking my dividend. I have 65 hundredths times my divisor, which is 5. 5 times 5 equals 25. Regroup my 2. 6 times 5 plus 2 equals 32. I'm supposed to have moved out. Move out my decimal for a whole number. Move it back in. Does my product match my dividend? Yes, it does. So this whole story is what it says. That 3 and 25 hundredths divided by 5 equals 65 hundredths. This is this story right here. Let's look at this next one. We have 45 hundredths times 3. I need to move my decimal out to make it into a whole number. 3 times 5 equals 15. Regroup my 1. 3 times 4 is 12 plus 1 more is 13. I'm going to put back my decimals, 2 spots. Does my product match my quotient? My dividend? Sorry about that. Yes, it does. So then this equation will be 1, I'll do it right here, 1 and 35 hundredths divided by my 3 groups, and my quotient is equal to 45 hundredths. Need to check my work. So I have 2 and 79 hundredths times 9. I need to move this out. 9 times 9 equals 81. I'm going to regroup. 9 times 7 plus 8. So that's 63. And 63 plus 8 equals 71. And here it's 9 times 2 is 18, and 18 plus 7 equals 25. Now I need to put back in my decimals. Does my product match my dividend? Yes, it does. So now I'm going to write out my dividend for my equation. 25 and 11 hundredths divided by 9 equals, this is going to be the $2.79. All right, let's look at number 8. At any time you need to speed me up to get to the question that you're working on, please do so. Guess what? I won't be offended. But be nice to me. All right. Number 8. I have 28 and 8 tenths, and I want to divide that by 3. I'm going to circle that so I don't get confused. All right, so now I have to think. I have those 3 groups, and can I divvy up my 2 wholes? This is actually going to be 2 tens into the 3. No, I can't do that. But I can have 28 ones. And so those of you that are still having some challenges with your multiplication, you can think of your base 10 and draw that if you want to. Or you can say that I have 3 groups of 1, 3 groups of 2 equals 6, and I can keep going because I want to try to get up to those 28 ones without going over. So I have 3 groups of 3 equals 9, 3 groups of 4 in each group equals 12. Can I keep going? Now look at what I'm seeing. If I doubled my 12, that's 24. That means I would need to double my 4, and that would be what? Yeah, 8. So I'm going to put this down here. So 3 times 8 equals 24. Those of you that weren't sure how I did that, watch this. So 3 times 5, I have 5 in each group, that's 15. I have 3 times 6, 6 in each group, that's 18. And all you're doing is doubling this up. If you double this, you double this. Double your product, double your factor. 3 times 7 equals 21. And isn't this what we did? If I doubled my 12 to get to 24, then I doubled my 4 to get to 8, and I keep the factor. This is constant. So now I'm going to have 8 in each group. 8 times 3 equals 24. I take my difference. 8 minus 4 equals 4. So now I'm having 4 ones. Can't do. What did I do wrong, guys? Look at that. 3 times 9. I got so wrapped up in my doubling, it's 27. So because the 4 is greater than the 3, I can still add in one of the groups. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this out. 9 times 3 equals 27. And somebody says, oh, I knew that one. Well, good for you because you caught that, and that is awesome. So I'm wipe that out right there. And let me go ahead and wipe that out so you don't get confused. Because look at this. If I have 9 in each group, that's 27. So I'm closest to the 28. So this is 9. This makes it a 27. And now when I take the difference, I have 1 ones left. I need to change that into the tenths because when I go over to my tenths place value, I already have 8. So now I have 18 tenths. My decimal, I'm going to bring that right into my answer. And so I've already worked out here, and I can easily go over to my 18, and now I know that there's going to be 6 in 3 groups. So I have 6 times 3 equals 18, and it's 0, and I'm done. The answer here is 9 6/10. And I did not write my answer here, so number 6 was, I'm going to bring up my dollar sign, $2.79. And then this is what I did here on my paper. If you are writing this, for those of you that are virtual and you're writing that on your paper, make sure that you show your evidence tomorrow. I'm going to be setting up the seesaw so that you can videotape it a section so that I can see your work. So you should have as much work as I do on your paper so that you can master division. All right, so now I'm looking at number 10. Number 10 reads that I have something, this little blank means that something divided by 9 equals 10ths. Now, what I want you to be aware of is looking at this one, the first number is very good, it's the dividend. Then we have our symbol, our division symbol. Then we have the divisor, and that equals to the quotient. I want you to take a look over here because I still needed to correct. If we look at your number 8, right? So when we check our work, check our evidence, we take the quotient, and I'm going to multiply that by the divisor. And the reason I'm putting it this here is so that you can see that this gives me the dividend. And when we translate that with our multiplication, then this is a factor times a factor equals the product. To see, so this is what it would look like using this language. This is the quotient. This is the divisor. This is the dividend. So are you beginning to see the relationship between all of these with the multiplication? Because with multiplication, we have factor times factor equals product. Okay, very good. So now let's go ahead and check this one here really quickly because I don't want to move on without that. Okay, so 6 times 3 equals 18. I'm going to regroup. Order of operations, 3 times 9 plus 1. So that's 27 and 1, it's 28. I move this out once, move it back in once, is my product, which is going to be my dividend, the same as my dividend in my standard algorithm. My answer is correct. And so you see how I multiplied that out, because my problem would be, because we're checking the work, right? So here, if you had, when you're checking your work, you would just work backwards. 9 6/10 times will equal dividend. And that's just what it's saying. All right, I'm going to move my 10 down here. Looking at 10, so now we have something divided by 9 equals 3 4/10. Well, is this the same concept? So absolutely. So I'm going to have my 3 4/10 times what? 9. All right, let's get busy. 9 times 4 equals, that's 4/10. So let me move that out to make it a whole number. 9 times 4 equals 36. Regroup my 3. 9 times 3 plus 3, so I have 27, plus 3 more equals 30. Need to put my decimal back in by moving it to the left one place. So the answer is 30 6/10. I'm going to place that right over here. There you go. So far, anything challenging or difficult? All right, and I'm probably going to stop this video soon enough so that so we don't have too long, we can have it in chunks. All right, looking at number 12, 30 by 7. So I'm going to get to another sheet of paper, and I have 30 So here we go. I'm on number 12. 30 87/100. Divide that by 7. So I'm simply going to go ahead and write it out for standard algorithm. Okay, same format. My tens is too small, right? Because it can't go into the 7 groups. But if I have 31s, can it? Absolutely. Those of you, I want you to go ahead and continue practicing this method of if I have 7 groups and 1 in each group, that's 7. If I have 7 groups, 2 in each group, that's 14. If I have 7 and 3 in each group, that's right, 21. Can I keep going? If I have 7 and 4 in each group, that's 28. Oops, can I stop or keep going? All right, someone says one more. 7 times 5 in each group, that's 35. Okay, way too big. So the one closest to it is going to be 28, and I can get that by multiplying 4 times 7 equals 28. So I was able to use 28 of the 31s, leaving 2 left over. I have my decimal point here, so now I'm going to move up my decimal. I have 2 1s, but I can't do anything with the 2 1s, so I'm going to make those into 20 tenths. But I also have 8 tenths, so now I have 28 tenths. Oh, look at what I just did. It's the difference. So now I have 28. This matches. So I'm going to have 4 in each group. And at this point, you should be visualizing how you're putting those 4 equal parts in each group, or the 4 parts in each group. So in my tenths, I have my 4. 4 tenths times 7 equals 28 tenths. Subtract that out. This is 0, but I'm not done yet. I have my hundredths, and in my hundredths, I have 7 hundredths that need to be represented. Well, look at this. So I'm going to have 1 in each group to get my total of 7 hundredths. So I'm going to have 1 in each group because 1 times 7 equals 7. And then it's 0. I'm done. So the answer to this problem, the quotient is 4 and 41 hundredths. There we go. The next one is 14. Dion practiced the long jump. He jumped 3 and 5 hundredths meters, 2 and 74 hundredths meters, and 3 and 3 tenths meters. What was the average length of Dion's jumps? Okay, so talking to Mrs. Jackson, she was saying that students were having a difficulty using the concept of average. So one of the things that I want you to remember with average, to find the average of anything, it's like what is the overall. So you have to add all numbers. Then you're going to divide by the numbers. And so what this means, I'm looking here and I have he jumped 3 and 5 hundredths meters. He jumped 2, and I have to line up my decimals, and 74 hundredths meters, and 3 and 3 tenths meters. And we're looking for the average. So now I went ahead and lined these up. I'm going to add these together. What can I put here to hold the spot, but doesn't change the value of my number? Absolutely right, it's 0. Okay, so 5 plus 4 plus 0 equals 9. And I regroup. I don't regroup because it's only 9. I have 7 tenths plus 3 tenths, so 7 plus 3 equals 10. Regroup my 1. I need to bring down my decimal. So now I have 3, 6, 8 plus 1 is 9. Okay, and so now I was saying I needed to divide by the numbers that we added. So how many numbers did we add together? So I'm going to, we had one group of numbers and second group of numbers and a third group of numbers. So in this problem here, my division problem will then be the total, my sum, divided by the number of groups, and then I have to find the answer. So let's go ahead and work that problem out. I bet somebody have already figured it out. Okay, if I have 9, can I separate those into 3 groups of 3 equals 9? So yes, I can. So 3 times 3 equals 9. I have my arrow that goes up here, and I'm going to bring down my 0. Well, look at this. How many would have to go in each? Well, it would be 0 groups because 3 times nothing in those groups equals 0. So I'm going to put a 0 here. This is 0. It's only 1 0. I don't know why I put 2. And then it's 0. And then I'm going to bring down my 9. And I already know that 3 times 3 equals 9. But it would actually be the, oops. I had 9 on the brain. So I do it in pencil. Do it in pencil. So I have equals 9. And now I can subtract that out. And now I have my final 0. So the answer to this one, his average length of jumps So I'm going to write down average length of jumps equals 3 and 300 meters. I cannot forget my unit of measure because that's how he did it. All right, so if you've gotten this first part done, that is awesome. I'm going to stop here so that I can work on the next 3 problems with you on a separate sheet, on a separate one, because I don't want this to be too long, and I will see you shortly.